Hi everyone, and welcome to this month's Sync with Sophos technical update. I'm John.
And I'm Nick. And yes, thank you very much for joining us. We've got quite a lot of content to go through this time around. And I think John's going to start us off with having a look at some of the new features that we're adding into our Sophos Central portfolio.
Yep, brilliant. Thank you, Nick. So yes, we'll start out with some of the updates for things in Sophos Central. The first is an announcement that we are removing support for Internet Explorer at the end of March. So fairly obvious reasons for that. There are still plenty of browser options available for you, but for at the end of March, we'll cease support for Internet Explorer. And then a nice little feature that we discovered just the other day is the ability to export tamper protection passwords out of Sophos Central. So you can either choose to manually export as a CSV or a PDF those tamper protection passwords, and you can also choose to schedule those out of Sophos Central as well. So if you're a large organization that has a large number of these passwords, then having those distributed out potentially could be quite advantageous if you need to regain control of a device for whatever reason. We've also been busy adding in IPS protection into endpoints. So that's been available in the background for a little while, and you should see that rolling out as part of base policies right across all of your different Sophos Central accounts for your customers. You'll notice by the logo here that these features and functions only apply to Windows-based devices, and macOS support will be added in just a little bit later on. So there's support there for malicious network traffic detection, and we've also added in some additional functionality as well for anti-exploit mitigations, so protection of dynamic shellcodes and validating the CTF protocol caller as well. So those again have been in early access for a little while, but you should see those again being enabled as part of your base policies moving forward. Cool. And there's one other update to our endpoint estate, but Nick, I'm going to hand this one over to you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, John. And yeah, I think we all know, hopefully, we're painfully aware of the time involved in us releasing a general available update to our InsectX for macOS platform so that we can fully support macOS 11, or Big Sur as it's referred to. You'll be aware we've mentioned a few of these updates previously, that there is an early access program running for the Big Sur operating system. The good news is I've been reliably informed by our product management team that we are very much hoping to have a release candidate for this, so version 10.0.2 for towards the end of February. As we typically update products in waves, you and your customers will start to see this coming into play in sort of the early March 2021 timeframe. But the light is at the end of the tunnel there, so that's good news. Obviously, in the meantime, any customers that are buying new Apple hardware with the M1 ARM chipset built into it, or pre-shipped with the Big Sur macOS 11 operating system, then those devices will, for now, until it's generally available, will need to join the early access program. So yeah, that's a bit of exciting news regarding Mac. If we move on out of Sophos Central, sticking with Sophos Central, but away from the endpoint at least, a new early access program is starting for the Central Email Advanced platform. And I stress the term advanced there. This will be a feature that's available to Email Advanced customers only. So only customers using standard won't have this option. Essentially, if you or your customers are using Sophos Email Advanced, they'll be able to join this EAP and make use of what we're referring to as search and destroy capabilities, specifically with Office 365. So essentially, this is leveraging an API that exists within Office 365, allowing Sophos Email Advanced to proactively reach into a end user's mailbox and actually remove content that has been deemed after delivery that it is in fact malicious. This is a great story when it comes to looking at our Darwin vision and actually bringing multiple technologies within the Sophos portfolio together. When we look at estate hunting, or XDR as it's referred to, as we will be able to not just do EDR type activities and proactive remediation on machines from an endpoint security point of view, but actually also from an email security point of view as well. So that's really exciting news. And if you're not making use of Sophos Central Email Protection already, I would definitely recommend you have a look at this. Obviously, it goes without saying that a lot of customers are using the Office 365 platform for email, and this is perhaps just another reason why we should be talking to those customers about some of the enhanced security things that we can offer them using Sophos Central Email Advanced. Sticking with some of the other products in Sophos Central, looking at Sophos Cloud Optics, we've recently introduced some additional enhancements to the security controls that exist within Cloud Optics. So this is specifically leveraging some of the new API settings within Azure and AWS to essentially report on and alert you or your customers to any overprivileged permissions that have been granted to users. This is great from an AI perspective because it essentially means that we are looking at what types of permissions end users need when they're consuming the public cloud compared to what they've actually got. One of the biggest threat vectors with the public cloud is essentially malicious actors making use of overprivileged users or user group settings and taking advantage of those additional heightened security settings. So yeah, this is a neat little component that we've added into the Optics platform. From an EDR and MTR point of view, I just wanted to remind you all, I know a lot of you have been on previous updates, but if you're new to the Signal Sophos series, we launched at the end of December an API essentially for the use with Sophos EDR Live Discover. So that API allows your customers to programmatically query tables of data that exist within the endpoint estate and schedule those queries as well. So you don't need to go into the Sophos Central platform into the threat protection center and run these queries manually. You can actually have a script that calls the API perhaps on a recurring weekly or monthly basis, looking for indicators of compromise and possible suspicious activity. This is really powerful for customers that know what they're doing with APIs, but actually in my mind, this is a really useful tool for MSPs and partners who are delivering services to their customers. So partners who have a SOC perhaps deliver cybersecurity threat hunting services to their customers, being able to create these crafted unique scripts that will look for indicators of compromise and then do that on a recurring basis, perhaps as part of a schedule, is something that will really add value to your customer, I think. As usual, I've included some links off this presentation, which will be available in our Teams portal for those of you who want to access this afterwards. So there'll be links to articles on how to get started with Live Discover and some specific information on how to use the APIs that we already have available and this new API within Sophos Central. And just before I hand back over to John, just a bit of information on the tips that we typically include as part of the Sync with Sophos series. This month, we've not included a tip. Instead, what we've got is a bit of a shameless plug, I suppose, for the technical newsletter that will be coming out throughout February. So in that, I'm in the process of actually writing or finishing off an article that summarizes some of the best practice and tips to how you or your customers can be making the most of InceptX with EDR. So there'll be a really good roundup. Well, sorry, that's me being my own word.
Modest, Nick.
Yeah, obviously it'd be an amazing article, but in all seriousness, it should hopefully be a good roundup of some of the tips and tricks and things that we recommend you do with the EDR platform and how it can add value to you and your customers. So keep a lookout for that article and the newsletter that will be coming out throughout February. Mm-hmm. Please, if you're not familiar with InceptX or with EDR already, then please do have a good read of that article and see how it can enrich yours and your customers' lives. So John, if I hand back over to you now to go through just a bit of information on rapid response.
Yeah, absolutely. So Thanks, Nick. Yeah, just a couple of reminders, really. There's no updates as such, but just really continuing to spread the message of the two managed services that Sophos now offer. So, first and foremost, of course, the managed threat response service. So, for those customers who like the idea of all these capabilities that EDR might offer, but simply don't have the time and resources available to be able to make use of those tools and monitor them proactively, then that's really where our managed threat response service comes in. So, really allowing experts to monitor your customers' networks and detect any potential indicators of compromise, any malicious activities, and maybe even respond depending on exactly what the customer needs. It's just a great way of outsourcing the risk when it comes to cybersecurity, really. And then we also have our incident response service. So if the worst happens and one of your customers does get hit, then the incident response service is there to really help investigate, find out what's happened, and to clean up any bits that may be left behind of any kind of malware, and really help guide the customer through that whole remediation process. So just a quick reminder, those two services exist first and foremost. Cool. And then obviously my favorite subject, as many of you will know, is the XG firewall. Well, there's no updates in terms of technology in this particular monthly update, but one thing I did want to draw your attention to is the XG Firewall Academy. So Sophos has got together a bunch of experts, subject matter experts on the XG firewall, and we've created some bite-sized webinars which have already been broadcast. And in fact, they were oversubscribed, which is a massive ringing endorsement for the fact that this was material that you guys wanted to see. So we have, as you would expect, made this material and content available for viewing after the event. So you can access these on demand. So if you click through the link that's on the PowerPoint, that will take you through to the registration page. Yes, the event has gone, but once you register, you will be able to access these on demand. And like I said, these are bite-sized chunks of information from subject matter experts that will really help you get more out of the XG firewall and help you understand how to position that to your customers as well. So it's not all out and out technical stuff. There is also discussions around things like planning the engagement with the XG firewall, best practices behind it, and also helping you with migration as well. So a lot of you may well have SG customers out there still running our UTM platform. And this is a good opportunity to look at how you can assist them in their transition over to the XG firewall. And there's a few sneak peeks in there as well. So there's a few little hints and tips and indicators of what might be coming down the line for the XG firewall in the future. So definitely a series that's worth investing a bit of time and effort into viewing.
Yeah, 100%. No, thank you, John. So just a bit of an update. We include these in the Sync with Sophos updates most months, to be honest, around training and certification. I think it's becoming more and more pressing or more relevant at the moment because of the fact that we've got this audit or compliance audit going on in the background at Sophos with regards to partner certification and the level of training that's been done by partners in order to keep the level of accreditation you have within our partner program, which we updated last year. And so we appreciate that many of you that are tuning into these updates may well be having to go through keeping your training up to date and perhaps consuming some of the latest material. If you are having any difficulties with that, or you've got some questions around what course is right for me, which ones should I be doing first, which ones do I prioritize, then obviously please do reach out to us. We're here to help with that, and we would always want to give you that guidance if you're looking for some pointers in the right direction. Just a quick reminder on the actual courses that exist. So starting at the top right here, we have the Sophos Certified Sales Consultant Training. If you're new to Sophos, or perhaps you're coming at things from a commercial bent as opposed to a technical bent, then I would encourage you to consume the SCO1 Sophos Certified Sales Consultant Training. There's a foundation course included in that, which essentially gives you a really good broad understanding of all of the products within the Sophos portfolio, our go-to-market strategy, and the kind of Sophos USPs within the cybersecurity marketplace. So that's definitely a course worth consuming. Even if you've been selling Sophos or working with Sophos for a number of years, to be honest with you, it's not a bad shout to actually have a look at that content, because even if you've been doing stuff with Sophos for many years, you might not be aware of some of the things that we've introduced in the last couple of years gone by. So yeah, definitely worth consuming that. Once you've done the sales consultant training, you can then move on to the Sophos Certified Engineer, and we have a Certified Engineer course for the central endpoint and server products, which include things like Intercept X and EDR as well, now included in the latest version of the content. There is also a Certified Engineer course for the latest firmware on the XG firewall, so version 18 Engineer is available. You will need to have completed the Certified Engineer content in a particular subject before you then go on to become Architect accredited. So if your ultimate goal is to become Architect accredited in XG, then you need to do the Certified Engineer in XG first of all. Once you've done Engineer, obviously, as I've just mentioned, you can move on to the Architect course. Another option is you can go down the route of this Certified Technician course. As the icons might suggest, this one probably does a better job of suggesting. This course is really designed for people who are supporting the products day to day. So if you're working on a help desk within your partner, perhaps you're triaging and doing first and second line support of Sophos products, I would recommend the route of going down Certified Engineer followed by Technician. If you're boots on the ground or delivering services and actually implementing the technology, then I would recommend you go down the Engineer route followed by the Architect. That would be the typical path. Obviously, there's nothing stopping you doing all three of those technical courses, and if you've got time, great. We really appreciate that. That'd be fantastic. To set expectations, there's some really good sort of command line detail how to use the XG firewall command line interface to troubleshoot problems, for example. Yes, that's predominantly useful for people who are supporting the product, but actually, if you're on site, actually installing the product and trying to find out what's going on, capture log files, etc., then maybe the Certified Technician course would be appropriate for you as well. As the slide says, all this content is available to consume on a self-study basis. One thing to note is from the partner portal, you will need to have a training voucher to enter into the system to consume the Architect training. If you're looking for one of those, my first suggestion would be that you speak to your channel account manager and they can actually go through what's necessary to get hold of one of those for you. But all the other course content should be available without any additional information required. We're hoping, and we're just kind of toying with this at the moment, to be able to deliver these classes virtually via Zoom calls, etc. We did the first one last week with an XG Firewall Architect course, which went down very well. And we're looking to do a similar one towards the end of February for Central Endpoint and Server Architect. There are limited spaces available on those, so if you're interested, get yourself into the partner portal and have a look and register onto the courses if there are spaces still available. But as I said earlier on, you do also still have the option of consuming the content on your own self-study basis. And then final point before I move on from training is just to be aware that there are Delta courses available for the previous versions of course content that you might have consumed. So perhaps you did the XG Architect version 17 course, 18 months or so ago. There is a Delta course for XG version 18. So yeah, it's just a gentle reminder to keep yourself up to date with all the latest versions of the content as and when it's available. If you've done that training and you want to consume some more, I know there's quite a few partners that regularly tune into the Sync with Sophos updates who do a really good job of consuming pretty much every training course Sophos makes available. Thank you for that to those people. We have other what we call on-demand training courses available in the partner portal. So these are much snappier, sort of less than a couple of hours in length typically. These courses and they allow you to focus in on some of the other Sophos products within the portfolio that we don't have engineer and architect courses for. So things like encryption, central device encryption. There aren't enough features in that product to justify an entire architect course. It'd be over as quickly as it started. But the point is that there is still some technical detail that you might want to know about how to troubleshoot the product, how to plan for deploying it, etc. So the ET25 is available for device encryption. and all the other courses that are covered on this screen. I'm not going to read them all out to you. The good thing, which I only discovered recently, actually, is there are courses not just specific to Sophos products, but actually, for example, we've got some cybersecurity essentials course content in there, which is quite cool. The EDR course actually talks about general threat hunting techniques and how to get ahead of cyber criminals using the EDR tools. But those aren't really Sophos specific course materials. It's more about how to do general cyber security practices. So I'd encourage you all to have a look at the on-demand technical training courses that exist. And John, I'm going to rest my throat for a minute. I don't know if you want to pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. So we'll finish off by just giving you a couple of some sort of general partner updates. So again, we've talked about this before, but just another really reminder and signpost towards the Sophos 2021 threat report. This is something we produce every year that really looks at where we are in terms of the threat landscape and some predictions for how the future might pan out. So this is an important one because clearly COVID-19 has really changed dramatically the way that we work, and it means that cybersecurity solutions and cybersecurity best practices really have to adapt to cope with this new way of working. So, out of all of them, this is probably the most significant. It is also, for those of you who do presentations and pitches to customers and prospects, then this is a great resource to get really good statistics and informational graphs and that kind of thing that you can share with customers and prospects to really help them to understand exactly, first of all, what the challenges are and also how our solutions help to address those challenges. So a really good resource there that I would highly recommend you take a couple of minutes to read.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, John. And that kind of wraps things up this month. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in and listening. We do appreciate your support, and as usual, we've actually stripped the slide out of the presentation deck. One thing that we would say is if there's any feedback or suggestions, things that you want us to include as part of the Sync with Sophos update series, then please do get in touch. Let us know. We're always open to looking at the way we deliver these webinars. And thank you again for listening. And John, thanks for your support with this. And we look forward to speaking to you all soon.
Yeah, take care.